Hello and welcome to Create and Connect series with InsureMO, where we unpack practical insights that matter to the future of insurance. I'm George Kesselman. I lead InsurTech Asia and Willow Ventures, where we work with leading insurance players to connect dots on the most impactful trends shaping insurance in Asia and beyond. In a recent interview, Chubb Group Chairman and CEO Evan Greenberg described Chubb as an underwriting and engineering company. An engineering aspect was particularly interesting, and it added that last year they hired about 1,000 engineers all across different data science and data and engineering and software engineering, which is incredible to hear such a big company having a focus on technology by one of the top insurance industry leaders. So with that as a background, it's my pleasure to welcome and introduce one of the key people driving technology at Chubb, Ravi Venisetti, Global CTO in Chubb Life. Welcome. We're here to unpack some of the interesting insights around the technology and the business strategy in insurance. So thank you for joining us in Singapore today, Ravi. And I'm also very happy to have with me today Chief Revenue Officer from InsureMO, Rajat. Sharma. InsureMO is #1 world's top insurance middle office platform. Again, Rajat, welcome. Very happy to be with you both of you here today. We have lots of insights to unpack in the next a little while. But before we jump there, Rajat, can you please take a minute to introduce InsureMO? As I tell people, it's one of the hidden insurtech unicorns that is both product-led and expanded from Singapore to a truly global footprint. So please.
Thanks a lot, George, and pleasure sharing stage with you, Ravi, after working with so many years with you.
Yeah.
So yes, InsureMO has been there for a while, and we've been quiet about it. You're right about it. We are very quiet about it because we were putting our heads down and working towards building ecosystems, understanding ecosystems. So that's what we've been doing. So we are, in the name itself, we are a middle office platform. So we are the first ones to come out with the insurance middleware and insurance middle office for the insurance industry, a true platform where a carrier or any ecosystem brand, a fintech or a bank or a health tech or a telco could come and connect and do embedded insurance or look at even core modernization use cases. So right from every complex modernization use case to embedded use case to even supplying tech to the insurance tech players. So that was our vision, and that's what we are working towards. And today what we are doing, this is what we are doing. So we are present in almost 50 countries. We power almost $25 billion in premium on the platform. Again, working with some of the largest brands like Chubb and some of the others of similar nature and size, and plus working with a lot of these ecosystem players, 9 ecosystem players. I mean, companies like Amazon, Tata Motors, Volvo, and some of the other e-commerce companies that I'll talk about as we discuss.
Super interesting. Thank you. Ravi, let's start with how does Chubb Life approach tech? As a CTO, do you actively co-develop business strategy alongside business leaders, or does technology take more of a enablement backseat once the direction is set?
Firstly, thanks for having me here, George, and good to have my friend Rajat on the same call. For us, strategy is not separate for technology and the business. It is one strategy for Chubb Life, right? So technology is part of the overall strategy, how we build together with the business. Basically, the focus is how do we better reach to the customer, how do we better serve the customer, and how do we actually grow the business, right? So if you look at it, you cannot have a business strategy running in silos with technology. So technology is no more a back office organization for Chubb Life anymore. Technology is part of the decision making. It is front and center, and it is actually driving the business decisions as well.
Super interesting, and I have a quick follow-up question for you. It sounds like this is quite core, and it's almost like a very close partnership with the business. Has it always been the case, or has it changed over last period of time, where kind of a change in terms of priority, and what did it mean for you as a CTO, as a technology leader? Did you have to make an adjustment yourself to say like, okay, this was our previous approach, now that it's changing and taking much more of a partnership and kind of seat at the table?
That's a good question, actually. I don't think it has changed like in 1 year, where we used to do other way the previous year, and suddenly we're doing it differently this year. But it's a natural progression if you see how technology is being embraced by the whole ecosystem, right? Whether it is not just the business, but also even the customers or even just the society itself, right? So technology has been in the back office largely, not just Chubb, but generally speaking. I've been in the industry for 20 plus years now, right? But then in the last 5 to 8 years or maybe 10, technology has slowly got onto the table, and it is not just enabling, but in certain aspects we are actually driving some of these strategical decisions. So it's not natural to your question. It has to go through a lot of change, and which is good. Change is good. Yeah.
Rajat, maybe a question for you then. Is this something that you're seeing across other organizations as well? Is it something that is unique to Chubb, having that kind of a engineering as part very core to the organization? Are you seeing more insurers embrace that?
I think we all know that Chubb probably today is the most respected brand in the insurance ecosystem when I talk about carriers, right? Because this is one organization where we see the maturity in terms of the products that Chubb does. Whether you look at North American markets, how mature they are in the commercial specialty type products, commercial or personal lines. And when this comes to emerging markets, how strong they built a life business, again, for the same set of business. And now they are also one of the prominent players when this comes to embedded insurance, right? So this covers every gamut and every space in the insurance parlance. And this does not go without having business and technology going hand in hand. And I think we work with almost every large carrier globally, every large brand that you can think of in some form or the other. And everybody has its own unique advantages, but where Chubb is very uniquely identified is how it carries everything all together. And I think Ravi pointed out very well in terms of how the business and technology are equal stakeholders in every decision making. And it's very evident because we've been working with Chubb for like many years now. I think more than 12 years that we've been working with them, helping them in the core back office modernization type use cases. And now today helping Chubb in terms of doing digital affinity partnerships, talking about embedded scenarios, helping them in a 2-speed architecture model in a market like Japan, where they didn't have to replace even a single legacy, and InsureMO helps them completely leapfrog into the digital ecosystem. So these are all unique use cases where we have everything under one umbrella called Chubb, right? And that's where I think we feel, at least for us, Chubb is very, very unique, and we see a lot of potential still going forward.
Interesting. I have another quick follow-up question for you. In terms of InsureMO being able to productize the solution, because what we've seen is that a lot of the other technology companies have tried to come into the insurance and try to create something that is, productizable, standard across the industry, and they all kind of got pulled into many, many different directions and end up customizing for every particular client and basically becoming a vendor and really spending a lot of time, which didn't really allow them to create anything that's interesting. It wasn't scalable. What was that kind of a secret discovery that InsureMO have made to be able to create that solution that is productized?
I would say, the secret lies in focus. We've been very razor focused on what we want to build, right? So we never claim to be an end-to-end technology platform. We cannot solve the end-to-end needs of every problem, right? So we are a middle office platform. We have middleware capabilities. We provide the best and the most extensive library of products for all lines of businesses. And we give you business APIs for the whole value chain of the insurance industry. And today we have an AI tier that helps you solve these at a very, very rapid pace. That's our unique selling point, and we stick to that. And reason why we are successful is again because of the same reason. One, we had an early mover advantage. We started 10 years back, on the platform, and middle office and middleware is a concept which never existed. So we were kind of, if you look at the theory of 0 to 1 or 1 to n, so we were the 0 to 1 player of creating a monopoly in the market, being a first mover advantage and making that segment happen, the middleware as a segment happen. And we focused on that. We focused on solving customer scenarios and problems. So solving core modernizations for large carriers like Chubb, understanding ecosystems, right? Whether that's telco, whether that's fintechs, whether that's banks, whether that's mobility, OEM, manufacturing, utilities, understanding every ecosystem, building products for that, and creating those experiences within the platform. So that's what we've been doing. And I think that is the core reason why. And you can call it a secret sauce, but I think that's where focus is the only thing that we've been doing. We've learned to say no to the industry. That's probably the most important thing that I think we've been doing.
I think that's interesting. I guess that kind of fits well together. So you have leaders and organization that really puts tech at the front and really embraces it. And then the technology company that is product led is also there to support them to enable that strategy. And I want to pick up on something that you mentioned in your comment. And this is a topic that is one of my favorite ones, is partnerships. So we hear that Chubb Life has been really busy when it comes to the affinity partnerships and doing a lot of stuff around this in the region in Southeast Asia. And it is a pretty new area for life, especially because I think general insurance have been a little bit more active on this. But for life insurers, it has been traditionally more focus on agency and brokers and
Correct.
FAs. So maybe if you can share with me if you have any insights for us about partnerships core to Chubb Life? Is it part of a big part of the strategy?
If you look at Southeast Asia market, especially right in this part of the world, there's a lot of the population or the society itself is young. It's growing. There's a lot of tech savvy people, and they embrace technology a lot more than some of the other parts of the world, right? So with that coming into place, there's a lot of people who are willing to accept, willing to actually purchase, willing to serve, willing to engage through partners, through online digital platforms, right? So gone are those days where people are looking at a pen and a paper for doing an agreement, right? These are some sort of antiques in this part of the world, especially in the Southeast Asia. If you look at markets like Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, etc., right? So there's a lot of activity in this area where partnerships, where the insurers are partnering with the digital players. It could be commercial, it could be retail, it could be some sort of fintech players. There's a lot of partnerships happening where we can actually bring the insurance products closer to the customers, right? So where things can be bought easily, things can be served easily. We don't have to go to a bank, or we don't have to go into an agency office, or we don't have to walk in somewhere to purchase insurance anymore. It's all on your mobile, on your digital devices, right? So there's a lot of activity that is happening in this area, and Chubb Life is pretty much a big thing for us going forward in focusing on partnerships.
Super interesting, and I think that also resonates with me because I believe that's the real area of opportunity for life insurance as well.
Yeah.
To have that partnership space, because probably the existing channels, you can have a little bit of optimization, you can have a little bit better tools and enablement and more efficient. But I think the real growth opportunity is not going to a bank, is going to a digital bank and accessing the customers where they're banking and doing business now.
Yep.
Super, super interesting. And I guess wanted to touch a little bit more about the role of InsureMO as an enabler for your strategy. So you kind of mentioned that its middle office capabilities are key to delivering. We heard the introduction from Rajat in terms of what their vision is. How do you see the InsureMO as an enabler for your technology strategies?
So Rajat spoke a lot about InsureMO, so it's my time to talk about InsureMO now, right? So it's not like new. We are new into InsureMO. We have been using InsureMO in different form, not complete product yet in some of the markets. But so where InsureMO I see is it is the only insurance centric middle office platform where we can actually deploy into the insurance companies, where partnerships or engagements with external parties, third party providers, etc., can happen seamlessly, with very easy to interact, very easy to integrate and do these end-to-end sales process in a very effective and seamless manner, right? So basically the way InsureMO works is it is lightweight, scalable on the cloud, which is not necessarily coupled with your legacy old school platforms, because as I said to the other question, most of these insurers are having these very old school legacy platforms, and it kind of stops you with these fast moving partnerships, right? So having InsureMO helps you to be nimble and seamlessly integrate and quickly go to market as well, right? That's the strategy that we follow at Chubb Life, where we deploy InsureMO as our middle office, and then things can be much faster than, we kind of operate like a startup.
Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting to hear. And it's not at the scale of pilots. It's actually the partnerships are running with that and is a key enabler. So
right.
kind of, I guess it sounds like it's about acceleration. It's about faster go to market. It's about that agility of launching new products quickly as well.
Yep.
Nice. And I think the other thing that I wanted to ask you, and it's a topic, I guess, of hot topic of last 2-3 years, is the AI. And how do you look at Chubb Life at this topic? And how does it fit within your technology roadmap or strategies?
See, I think I'll be a bit abstract on this because every company is driving a lot of AI interest, I believe. AI is not a myth anymore. AI is a true reality. It's not like the companies are doing any pilots anymore. These are actually being deployed. The AI agents are being deployed, and it is truly bringing benefits to many of the insurers, just like Chubb Life as well. There's a lot of opportunity where you can actually bring AI models to train your telemarketing, your agency sales force, and even for your customer service as well. But behind the scenes, what is important is for you to run an AI model effectively and drive your business efficiently. You need to have proper data. So there's a lot of focus on bringing data together in Chubb Life as we speak, and you have good data, good quality data, better, comprehensive data, not necessarily the volumes that will lead to have a better AI trained model for you to have better outcomes. It could be in your underwriting, it could be claims, as I mentioned, the sales channels as well, right? So I think this is just the beginning for AI in my view. Also for Chubb Life, there's a lot going to happen in the coming quarters and years on AI.
And I think it is a hot topic, I guess, that will continue getting hotter and more impactful. So thanks for sharing that. I think this is something that obviously we know that data is the real engine or real kind of
absolutely
enabler for it as well. And I think bringing that data together in the same easy access is probably where I from what I'm hearing is a lot of the hard work is in that. I think previously it sounded like there was a lot of struggles with the data cleansing and stuff, but now with next generation of the LLMs coming out, it feels like this is overcoming at least that hurdle. So you don't need to have an army of people cleansing data just in order for it to work.
Not anymore. Yeah.
Are you seeing, Rajat, anything on kind of the industry wide AI related?
Oh yes. So we had embarked on AI long back, but now because we have a very strategic advantage here. As a company, we have been around for 26 years, purely as a tech company, only servicing insurance carriers and all kinds of complex products that you've seen. So what we have is metadata of these products, understanding how these products actually react in a scenario, in a particular ecosystem, in a bank assurance model, in an agency model, in a digital affinity model. So we have been using a lot of learnings from these products and these scenarios and been training our own models. Basically, what we are doing is we are looking at various LLMs on how these LLMs can behave and work. And then we are building our own fine tune on top of these LLMs, which means while InsureMO as a platform, it's a platform as a service model, we have an AI tier today in the platform itself. Now we are using that AI tier to do two things. One, we are using that AI tier and all the agents that we are building for our own internal efficiencies. Simple examples, we are reducing the amount of BAs today we need to go and sit with a customer and look at BRD requirements. We do not need 10 people in a room. All we need is agents which could drive a 90% of the BRD sitting right in front of one person, so that only, remaining 10% of the task has to be done by humans. Looking at how can we quickly configure and launch and write those APIs faster, right? So the code that has been written by AI agents today is so clean, and it's so perfect that you do not need a lot of humans to go and write those APIs for us. So we are using that for our own internal efficiencies and build the platform so that if we were doing something in 3 weeks, can we do it in 3 hours? So that is a benchmark for us as a platform, and that's where we are pushing the limits. The second aspect, obviously, is to directly deploy these agents to kind of look at how our customers can benefit from it. So Ravi pointed out, whether that's around selling, whether that's around servicing. So these are all use cases where these AI agents could be embedded as part of other platforms, right? So that's where our partnerships with companies, low-code, no-code platforms, like ServiceNow or a Microsoft or a Salesforce or an Uncork or an Appian. So we're working with them, because every platform has an AI strategy and they're looking at that as an application. And we bring a lot of these AI capabilities from an insurance standpoint to be embedded by that. So it's a marriage of a lot of these platforms combining together. And I think AI is a common link that kind of gels it all together. So that's where we are working towards only bringing AI-led information, data, having product data and having transactional data so that we can feed it to the right source. Now, whether that's for contact center type environment or it's for an embedded environment where everything is happening on a real-time basis. So that's kind of where we are heading towards, and we are seeing a lot of success already in various markets. Obviously, Asia is a bedrock of it, but we are seeing the same thing happening in North America as well as in Western Europe markets as well.
That's super interesting. It sounds very powerful because I guess this is the piece that ties all this different AI strategies together, yes, where you kind of need that platform internally. If you put the AI on top of your legacy core, yep, I think that's going to be not probably a most ideal scenario because everything is just going to be broken or not accessible in a way.
I want to add to what Rajat mentioned also, right? It's very important. We see AI a lot from business growth and how do we bring AI into sales process, service process, et cetera, so on and so forth. And a lot of people talk about it. I think AI, even we do a lot in Chubb Life, is how do we bring AI to improve the developer efficiency? Having engineering workforce, right? If you bring in AI tools, there's so many of them which we internally use, and there are so many in the market as well. It improves your developer efficiency, which means you can have a lot more faster rollout of your platforms into any of these, countries or channels, not just from a speed perspective, also from a quality perspective, because nowadays you can actually tell the tools what you actually want. You can actually write it in a simple natural language of what exactly is your requirement. It gives you the code, better code than what actually the developers can do. So I think AI is not just bringing quality of speed for better business growth, but also from a development point of view as well, which will eventually grow the business. So that's, I think,
the code is better than what you used to write.
1000%.
But I think that is also an interesting aspect of it. Like if you look at it and say it's an engineering organization, then obviously you're competing also for talent with other engineering organizations like the Googles of the world and Facebooks of the world. Yes. But putting it as core and giving the tools that enable it is no longer, I guess, the same as it was maybe 5 years ago, where all of a sudden an engineer comes in and probably looks at it and says, oh my God, this looks like, going to be very, very painful experience for them to be an engineer. But
yes, it is. If you look at, sorry, I'm just jumping onto that. If you look at some of the industries, what's happening, especially in the tech industry, is the tech companies are growing in terms of their revenues, but they're actually getting rid of engineers. So that's a very interesting aspect. What's happening in the industry is the company revenues are growing, but actually, in general, when your company revenues are growing, you should hire more people. But actually, it's opposite. Your revenues are growing, you're actually getting rid of people. So it's a very different situation now.
What kind of engineers do you need in that environment? I guess the ones that really understand not only how to just
how to use AI tools, how to enable your end-to-end programming with AI tools. These kind of engineers are required.
Very, very interesting. So
maybe they don't need CTOs anymore. They just need InsureMO. That's it.
CROs. All you need is to sell.
And risk as well. Okay, I mean, I think is really interesting discussion. I really enjoying our discussion today. It sounds like the technology is becoming a lot more core to the business of insurance is no longer just underwriters. It is that kind of a very interesting combination of underwriting and technology, bringing it together in a very cohesive way. And I guess that's kind of where you come in to drive that strategy and bring this together. Do you ever feel that from their organization, how is the reception? Because it's always been that core insurance and underwriting organization. How receptive are people to technology being so core to the business?
But change is inevitable in any industry nowadays, right? So, and technology coming into the ecosystem is more inevitable, I think. Not just for Chubb, not just for insurance, but also for many industries. So if you look at Chubb, we embrace change in many levels, right? So turning this into underwriting and engineering company is not something, is a worry for the organization, which is it is seen as a good change, because we need to adapt with the ways of how the industry is growing, how the customer is expecting us to be nimble, fast, technically savvy, and bring in all this kind of digital ecosystem into the customer space. So this is a good change, I would say.
Cool. So if an engineer comes out of the school these days, I think they can look at Chubb Life, and Chubb is a very attractive organization actually to go and stretch their wings and try to do something that's very interesting.
Yes. Please apply for any open roles in Chubb.
Sure. Very good. Okay, I think we've covered quite a bit of territory. I guess, Rajat, from where are you seeing what's next for the InsureMO? Where is the kind of a big focus areas?
As I said earlier, so we're putting our heads down and focusing on solving a very basic problem in the industry, right? So we are not there to replace anybody. We are not there to go and say that you don't need core systems. So our value has been to create a segment here for the insurance industry. That segment never existed. That segment is a middle office segment. So banks know what a middle office is. Insurance companies have never realized the importance of middle office. Only for a reason that you've been an insurer yourself. Ravi's been there. You've been working with banks and agency at Max or your website. So these were always your channels. So today that segment is required because everybody wants to embed into every scenario of whether that's ride hailing, whether that's gig economy, whether that's e-commerce, whether that's a telco, whether that's utilities, electricity. Everywhere you see insurance getting embedded, right? And so our focus right now is still to go and focus on building this middle office and scaling that up globally, and having us embedded in every single scenario, in every single country, in every single ecosystem that's possible, right? And that's what we will do. We are not going to spread ourselves doing a lot of these things. So focus is to bring AI, as I said, to bring more efficiencies with us as a platform, and then delivering a lot of these AI agentic tools that could work with the ecosystem partners, and then delivering value to our customers. So today we are doing around $25 billion. I would say that is not even 0.1% of the market that we want to capture. There's a long, long way to go for us, right? And we want to kind of fast track this because of the whole agentic era that we are in. And I think we can actually do that very fast. The adoption of technology, the way it is happening, I frankly see that this 25 billion can be 10 times, 20 times for us very, very soon. And specifically, when we talk of companies like Chubb, which are so much into tech, we feel that that's a great sign for every other peers of the scale and size. Everybody will be investing into tech. Everybody will realize that the value does not lie in core system. Value is lying somewhere outside. So they need to create a value creation outside of the current monolithic system that they have. And that's an opportunity for us. That's an opportunity for us to build this ecosystem and keep growing. So you will see us only doing the same thing over and over again and just repeating it as we go on.
Sounds exciting. It sounds like you're going to be traveling a lot more than you are right now. So we hope it's going to be a really exciting time for everybody. And I guess as more people find out about it, I think the more insurers embrace it. And from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of the insurers already coming knocking on your door. So it's really good and exciting to see the progress that the company is making. And I just have this image in my mind about the insurance industry. We kind of been always the agent industry. So we're really very prepared for the AI agents to come in. We just relabel it. I think we are ready for that next phase of growth. We're already there, right? Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having us.